If there's one thing that annoys me, aggravates me to no end, it's a cock block. Or a jock block, depending on what kind of language you want to use. But you have this moment, and this did happen to me recently, where you see someone, they seem interested, you're definitely interested, you've never really spoken to them until now, and you're psyching yourself up and thinking, right, I don't speak to them, and so my breath doesn't stink, and so I've got my deodorant on, and fixing my nails up, or whatever, you're getting ready to go, and then some douche shows up and completely kills it for you. And he creeps around, and he doesn't get the hint, and you just want to tell the guy, look mate, I'm trying to sort something out here, okay? Go away! Disappear! This didn't happen to me once. This didn't happen to me twice. This happened to me 3 times in a row. And the third time was the most aggravating one of all. So the first time, you don't normally tell people, look, I'm going to go and make an approach to this person, blah, blah, blah. First time, he was none the wiser. Second time, he was very aware of it. Because I even said, look, I need to go and speak to this person. I'm going to go chat to them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm waiting for them, I'm thinking, good, they're going to be here, they're going to be here. And he pops up around the corner, and he's like, hanging around, acting like a weirdo. And this girl's just like, fuck, you ain't going near me. The next week, I thought I'd lost this guy after work. I was like, yes, thank you God, I have lost him. I'm free, I can go and chat to this person. And what happens? I go outside the door from work. I think, let's not stand right near the door, because if he comes out that same entrance, he'll find me and he'll ruin it. I walk all the way around the other side to the bus stop, because it's a huge area that I'm working, and everyone kind of comes out of this building. I'm thinking, right, she's going to be coming out this way. I'm going to see her. Alright, I'm ready. And my phone rings. And I'm thinking, really, don't answer the phone. But I'm not, oh shit, making my phone. It's him! Where are you? Oh, don't speak to this girl then. There is no we! Fuck off! Cock blocks will set your love life back by years and months and centuries and whatever. Why am I telling you this story? Because I'm actually supposed to be doing a wrestling video. I think it was just to lighten the mood up, talking about that suspension of Chris Lee. Anyways, on to wrestling. The one thing that people are talking about lately, and one wrestler in the WWE that we're talking about, is this guy right here. And this is probably explained why I'm single right now. Things like this. Okay, Dolph is actually one of my favourite wrestlers. I've always been a follower of his career. I've always enjoyed watching him wrestle. I always kind of look forward to seeing him on TV, etc., etc. I didn't like the way that he debuted. I'm not necessarily talking about the handshake gimmick, but when you debut a new guy and you have him lose to a main event guy within about 3 minutes and then do nothing with him. But when he went to SmackDown and they started doing things with him, I started to see potential again in this guy. A guy that carried himself like a star, that was really improving in his in-ring work, to the point where you forget that this was the same person that was Chavo Guerrero's caddy when he was crowned in white, and the guy that was Nicky from the Spirit Squad. You completely forget that this is the same person. He done such a good job of reinventing himself somehow, and he's always shown his potential. He always has very, very good matches, and I felt that the talk of him eventually being a main eventer really started after his feud with Rey Mysterio, or during his feud with Rey Mysterio, and how well they spotlighted him on SmackDown at that time. And then the talk kind of evaporated when Rey got suspended. Dolph was kind of lost in the shuffle. Then they eventually put him with Vicky Guerrero, and that seemed to be something to kind of keep him going. It took him a while to kind of get his momentum back again. And it's been in this last year that this talk is starting to rise up again. I felt that match-wise, he's always had, in particular in the last year to 2 years, very, very good television matches. I think his matches with Daniel Bryan and Raw were always great and fantastic. The match on Raw, the match they had on the pay-per-view, I think was Dragon Rights, and the match they had on SmackDown were fantastic matches. I felt he lived up to his end of the bargain just as Daniel Bryan did. I felt his match with Kamal was very good. I just see a guy that comes out and puts forth effort in what he's doing and takes a lot of pride in what he's doing. But there was just that one thing, that personality, that charisma thing, just it's there, but it hadn't yet come out. And I think that one of the things was putting him with Vicky Guerrero. Now, on the one hand, it's a good thing because Vicky is very over. Vicky gets a lot of heat. People respond to Vicky Guerrero, but they're responding to Vicky Guerrero and not so much Dolph, because Dolph is more or less like a deaf mute. And then we fast forward to the end of 2010 and maybe the beginning of this year. Dolph had a match with John Cena that was fantastic. And the reason why it's fantastic to me is it's very hard for someone to have a match with John Cena and come out looking like you were on par with him. Partly because of Cena's abilities and partly because of how Cena matches are booked. But this match was so on point in terms of the moves and near falls, and more importantly than that, the crowd reaction, that it made me start to think perhaps there is a spot for Dolph. And we fast forward to this year, and we're starting to see more of that personality. We're starting to see more of that charisma, and he's starting to develop his own shtick on the microphone, if you say correctly, if I'm wrong. We're starting to see more of that, and as it develops and develops and develops, I think that Dolph Ziggler may be one of the guys that breaks out in 2012 in the WWE. We already know what kind of matches he can have, but now we're starting to see the personality. And eventually, as his personality and charisma develops, and those little things that he does continue to grow and catch on with fans, he may get to a point where he can eventually break away from Vicky Guerrero and be a guy that stands alone as a single star. Now, with that being said, it's the WWE that we're talking about. And if this was maybe 10 years ago, I would have the utmost confidence that there would be a good plan for Dolph Ziggler. There wouldn't be a rush job. There would be a good plan in place, and he would be elevated appropriately and accordingly. However, modern day WWE does not do a very good job of elevating and creating new stars. And what we have seen in the past, in history, has shown that a guy can get over, they kind of don't do anything. He gets over a bit more, and people start to take notice. They then, if they're the chosen one, it's a very good thing. They then kind of do nothing with that person. Excuse me. They have this person lose several matches. They then throw a briefcase at him. He wins the title. The fans don't react to it. And even worse, during the title reign, the person is presented as a fluke champion, a guy that's not a threat to any of the current main eventers, and a guy that is completely out of his league, and someone that, if he loses the title, he's not going to be back in contention anyways. And they did this with CM Punk when he won the belt in 2008. They did this with Chris Jericho many years ago too. They did this with Kurt Angle when he first won the belt. They did this with Jack Swagger. They did this with The Miz. This is something they do quite a bit. And even to an extent, they did this with Sheamus. They rush guys in, they don't build them up properly, they throw the belt on them, the fans don't react, and then the audience sits there and goes, well, he can't get over. The reason the person can't get over is because of how you've presented them over the last year in the lead-up to them becoming the main event guy. And that's my main fear with Dolph Ziggler eventually, hopefully, being a main event guy. are they going to do one of these things and they learn from their previous mistakes? Are they going to do the same thing that they always do? Are they going to have Dolph continuously lose matches, throw a briefcase on him, and then make him look like a champion? Because if you do that, that's not how you make money. And a lot of people will say, well, Dolph's a heel, you have to kind of book him as like he can't hatch drum wins and all of that. And I don't necessarily agree with that. And I think the era of the cowardly heel, I mean, you can do it with a mid-carder, but when you're building a main event guy that you're hoping to draw money with, and you want to see get his ass kicked, you can't necessarily book him as a coward. He has to be a kid, he has to be unlikable, but when it's go time, he has to come out and fight. And people say, well, the cowardly heel mirrors real life, and if they do this with Dolph Ziggler, there's nothing wrong with it. But you look at a guy like Chael Sonnen in real life. Look at how Chael Sonnen behaves. He is a heel. But when he goes out there and fights Anderson Silva, when he goes out there and fights Brian Stan or Nick Marquardt, there's no trace of cowardice in him. He's coming out there to fight. Floyd Mayweather is another example of this. These are guys that are heels, but they're coming out there to fight, and it's realistic. So, anyways, what do you guys think of Dolph? Do you think that Dolph is perhaps the next guy to break out in 2012? Is the WWE going to get this right? And where do you see this taking place? Do you think that he'll get traded to SmackDown and be allowed to stand alone and kind of grow on SmackDown? Or do you think they're going to keep him on Raw, which is the biggest shark tank of the world, and somewhat get lost in the shuffle and be presented as out of his depth? I'm completely talked out. I feel like I've got cotton mouth now. Let me know what you think. Write some comments, leave some feedback, do a video response if anyone cares to do that if you can. And I will hopefully get back to you very soon. And one more thing, hopefully I'll have no more cock blocks ruining my chances.